Hello everyone, welcome to Best Recipes with Sharon. Today's recipe is for a famous Italian dessert that is well known for its delicate sweetness, its smooth texture, and the elegant way that it's plated. It's the perfect way to finish off any meal. I made this by special request from my good friend Sue. She said she had really enjoyed this dessert while she was over in Rome. So I put this recipe together and I'm sharing it with you today. It's made from simple ingredients, but the details matter. So pay attention to the little bits of information and you'll make it perfectly. I use ramekins for molds, and then I also use some wine glasses. Now let's get right to making this. This is going to be so much fun. I start by using half and half cream, and this is readily available here in Canada. If you don't have it available, you can use 1.5 cups of cream and 1.5 cups of whole milk. The half and half cream does make for a little smoother texture. And if you're using that, it's 3 cups of half and half cream. And as you can see here, we're pouring that into a large saucepan. Even though I have it on the stove, I don't have the heat turned on yet. I'm going to dissolve some gelatin in it first. So we'll need about a tablespoon of powdered gelatin. And sprinkle the gelatin evenly over the top of the half and half cream. To let it bloom, we need to let it sit for about 5 minutes. This will allow the gelatin to start to dissolve. Now place it on the stove and turn the heat on. The milk should never come to a boil. If you see some steam, remove the pot from the stove and let it cool down. Now your milk needs to get hot, but not so hot that you can't leave your finger in it for a few seconds. So the gelatin will dissolve quite quickly actually as the milk warms up. And after a couple of minutes, make sure that it's nice and smooth. And so check the texture and just make sure that the gelatin has all dissolved. There should be no lumps or grains, and you can turn your heat up or down or remove the pot from the stove if you need to. And be sure not to let it get too hot. So once the gelatin has dissolved, add 1/3 cup of white sugar. And so we're going to dissolve the sugar now as well. And so you need to stir this and continue warming until it dissolves. And once again, this will only take a couple of minutes maybe. And if it's dissolved properly, it will just coat the spoon nice and smooth. Or if you rub the milk between your fingers, there should be no grains of sugar left. Next, we'll add 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla. And mix that in until it's well combined. And before we pour this into our molds, rinse the ramekins with cold water. It will make it easier to remove the panna cotta from the molds. But first I'm going to pour some into a glass. And I just want to show you different ways of doing this. This one will be quite easy because you don't have to remove it from the mold. These next ones are ramekins, and they need to be rinsed with cold water before pouring the milk mixture into it, so that when they set, it will be easier to unmold them. Then I'm using a wine glass, and once again, we'll serve it right in the wine glass. It does not have to be taken out. And take notice that the mixture has not even started to set yet. It remains a liquid at this point. It will take a minimum of 4 hours in the fridge. So cover them all with some plastic wrap and set them in the fridge to set. And these took about 4 hours and they were set nicely. Next, I'll show you a few ideas on how to garnish these. The first one is a strawberry sauce. Using fresh strawberries, you'll need about 2 cups of strawberries and about 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. And you'll take that and put it in a blender and mix it together until it's well combined. And just until there's no more lumps in it. And at this point I did a taste test and I added 2 more tablespoons of sugar, but I added white sugar this time. So I have a little bit of both, brown sugar and white sugar in this. Now cover it with some plastic wrap and place it in the fridge until you're ready to use it. Now another idea is grease a pie plate. Put a pan on the stove and add about 1/2 cup of sugar. And turn the heat on high. Stir it until the sugar melts and turns golden. And this will take a few minutes, but you can see the process here. Once your sugar has turned golden, quickly add some honey roasted peanuts and pour it into the pie plate. And I used about 1/3 to 1/2 cup of peanuts. Quickly spread it out with your spoon because it sets very quickly. And set that aside at room temperature until it cools off. Once it's set, in order to remove it from the pie plate, just set the pie plate in a bath of hot water and then break the pieces apart as it loosens and set it aside till you're ready to use it. Another idea is to use field berry jam. Now to remove the panna cotta from the ramekins. Fill a large bowl part way with hot water. Then submerge the ramekin in the warm water up to its rim and hold it there for about 3 seconds. Then run a thin knife along the edges. Invert the ramekin over a plate, shake gently, and it should remove easily. Now I left this one in the hot water too long, so it bled a little bit, but you can clean up the edges, so don't worry about that. Just keep this one simple and top it off with a wedge of peanut brittle. Now on to the next one. We'll put it in the hot water, but don't leave it as long. And look, it came out perfectly. Here I'm adding a little bit of strawberry sauce and a couple of strawberries on top. And the texture will be somewhere between a jello and a pudding. But it'll be silky smooth. And here is the wine glass idea. The beauty of this is that you don't have to unmold it. So you can use the strawberry sauce as a base and add mixed berries on top. And then top it off with a mint leaf. And the see-through glass helps to show the crisp lines of where the panna cotta stops and the sauce begins. And the wine glass gives it its own pizzazz. And you can do the same thing just using a simple glass. Only this one I'm going to use some mixed berry jam. And this is a simple way. You can do mixed berries the same way as you do the strawberries and add sugar. But using the jam is quick and easy. So just continue on until you have them all decorated on top. The amounts in this recipe makes enough for about 7 servings. And you can moisten the plate a little bit so that if the panna cotta doesn't fall on the plate properly, you can reposition it easily. And it's best served on the first day of making it in order to enjoy its smooth and silky texture. But you can refrigerate it for up to 4 or 5 days if you cover it with some plastic, but you will need to warm it up to room temperature for about a half an hour before serving. And that's just because the gelatin gets stronger as it sits. The base of this panna cotta is a vanilla base, but you can play with the flavors and change it up a little bit if you wanted to. You could substitute some of the milk mixture for some strong coffee or even some shaved chocolate, and you can come up with many ideas of your own. But I think this vanilla panna cotta is my favorite. So alright, here's another great recipe for you to try. And hopefully my tips and suggestions make it really easy for you to make it perfect the first time. Thanks so much for watching today's episode. And if you liked this video, don't forget to comment in the comment section and give it a thumbs up. And thanks for your support of this channel. And until next time, happy eating!